Hello and welcome to the Monday, May 5th, 2025 edition of the SANS Internet Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich and today I'm recording from San Diego, California. And as promised, this weekend Didier released his Steganography challenge. So this is a further evolution of a couple diaries that Didier recently published regarding Steganography and how to use his Python scripts in order to help you extract hidden messages from images. This is a sample image using a slightly different methodology here, but the tools should still work. I think I may give away a couple of stickers or so to some of the solutions. Still have to figure out how to exactly do that. But if you're interested, submit your answer to either our handler's email or to Didier directly, and we'll see what we can do with regards to prizes for this challenge. There's also a little hint there that is RAW 13 encoded, so give you a little bit more of a hint if you are just stuck with this particular challenge. And then we have a couple of news items related to Microsoft and passwords. First of all, Microsoft is now starting to offer passkeys by default. If you're setting up a new Microsoft account, you'll be offered to use passkeys, and as a result, well, you will no longer have a password for your Microsoft account. So this is further sort of pushing the agenda here of getting rid of passwords, replacing them with passkeys. Certainly a solid security decision that many organizations have sort of embraced on, but this is probably pushing it further than others have done in the past by just making that the default. The only issue here apparently is that this really only works if you're using the Microsoft Authenticator. For other authenticators, Authy and such, it will not work. You will then still need a password, which sort of softens the entire system somewhat. But we'll see how it goes, and it's always, of course, difficult for large public systems like this to make changes. The other news item here is also related to Authenticator. Microsoft will move away from using Microsoft Authenticator as a password manager. That's sort of what Microsoft is offering right now, starting June, so relatively soon. You will no longer be able to add new passwords to Microsoft Authenticator, and then the entire feature will kind of go away in July, so relatively soon. The replacement for it will be Microsoft Edge, so Microsoft's version of the Chromium browser will be your password manager. Guess makes sense to have it integrated in a browser. That's where you usually need your passwords. Of course, it will make sort of interoperability with different browsers more difficult. You probably really want still some standalone password management application. It just can't be Authenticator anymore. And then we have a little bit an odd supply chain attack. I call it odd because, well, first of all, apparently the backdoor components were included in these particular packages as soon as 2019, but only recently activated. The other odd thing about it is there are 3 or 4 different vendors involved, according to the blog post by SANSec. Well, but those vendors actually at this point do not acknowledge the compromise, even though the backdoor packages still appear to be available. The backdoor is relatively straightforward, but also, on the other hand, kind of nicely disguised. It claims to be an admin license that is required to run the plugin. There is an admin load license function that can be used to upload a file to the server, and then a second function that executes the content of the file as PHP. The very early versions of this backdoor did not require any kind of authentication to upload these license files, but laters do. They essentially have simple hard-coded keys that, of course, now have been made public. If you're running Magento and these packages do affect Magento, double check that you're not running any of these malicious packages. They're definitely malicious. But like I said, the vendor response is a little bit odd. So I'm not sure if they really don't know if they're compliant or complicit with the particular attack. That's really hard to tell and open at this point. I'm not familiar with any of the vendors, but then again, I'm not really running any Magento website, so not really that familiar with that ecosystem. If anybody has any kind of insight a little bit here, please let me know. Well, and that's it for today. Thanks for listening. And of course, I am here in San Diego at SANS Security West. I'll be teaching this week. If you happen to run into me, I tend to have some stickers on me or such. So always happy to meet any listeners. And that's it for today. And talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.